everyone, and welcome to episode 9 of Jen and Minnow Cut the Crap. And this time we're focusing on Plastic-Free July. Plastic-Free July is a worldwide initiative to get people to reduce their plastic usage. Something like 100+ million participants in 190 countries now, which is amazing. So we wanted to use this initiative to highlight the impact of plastic on our health as well as the environment, and then sort of simple tricks that you can implement into your everyday life to combat your use of plastic. So Minnow, over to you. What is the deal with plastic?
So a lot of people think that plastic is probably just something very innocent. We don't really think about it. And modern day living means that plastic is all around us. You probably got a phone, your computer, a pen that you hold in your hand. And you know, plastic has its uses, you know, in hospitals and lots of other things. But the problem is that it's ending up in our environment and it's impacting our health and actually the health of the planet as well. A shocking amount is dumped into seas. Around 8 million pieces find their way into seas every day. And according to studies, that's expected to double by 2034, which is quite sad. And the problem is that a lot of that plastic we end up eating because, of course, all the fish in the sea that come across this plastic accidentally eat it. And the smaller fish are eaten by the larger fish. We eat the large fish, and there you go. We're essentially ingesting plastic without knowing. And then there are strong links between the consumption of plastic and plastic found in our foods and in the environment, with serious health conditions like infertility, birth defects, cognitive decline, and even cancer. So
that's scary, isn't it?
It is when you think about it. So should we chat about what plastic is actually doing in the body?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess one of the main things is it leaches chemicals, doesn't it? So if you've got a plastic container with food in it, it's leaching chemicals into your food. One of the most well-known is BPA or bisphenol A, and that can be found in tubs, margarine tubs, water bottles, even baby bottles, and tin food in the food liners. BPA is an endocrine disrupting chemical, or known as a xenoestrogen. So it mimics the natural hormone estrogen that we have in our body. And it disrupts the normal functioning of that. So that, has knock-on effects to sort of other hormone issues, fertility issues, PCOS, worsening of sort of menopausal symptoms, even diabetes and obesity and all of these different things. So it has quite a damaging effect, or potentially can have quite a damaging effect. So yeah, do you know some of the other chemicals that you can find in plastics?
Yeah, BPA is like one of the main ones, and now you can find BPA free plastic bottles, but there are quite a few others, such as PET, which is found in plastic bottles and soft drinks, juice bottles, PVC and cling film, which is likely in every single home, and squeezy bottles, and something called DEHA, that's used a lot in sort of fast food plastic containers, takeaway containers, and cheese packaging. And studies have shown, when this is kind of looked at in detail, plastic is a perfect environment for breeding toxic substances. And when this is looked at in relation to the tumor suppressor gene P53, which is a really important gene that regulates sort of the cycle of a cell, so how a cell grows, the toxic substances that leach from this plastic actually prevents that gene from functioning properly. So cells go through their own sort of check to make sure that they don't become cancerous. And so these plastics prevent that from happening, which, is hugely damaging and pretty scary. So yeah, we want to try and avoid plastic where we can. And actually something else to highlight is plastic that's left in the sun. So if you've got a water bottle, it's in the car on a hot day, throw that bottle away. Do not touch it. Exactly, because things like water, things like UV rays, increase the toxicity of what's leached from plastic. So avoid. What else can people do, Jen? Because you work in a health shop in the week. What ideas have you got for people to limit their plastic consumption?
Yeah, I'm glad we're moving on to this, because it's all a bit depressing otherwise.
It's sad.
But even things like, if you think about buying shampoo and hand soap and laundry liquid, you buy those in plastic bottles. So yes, you still have a plastic bottle, but if you can refill those, they're no longer single-use plastic. So that makes a huge difference. So if you go to a local health food shop or whatever, you can get these things refilled now. And it's the same with grains and pulses, pasta, whatever it might be. A lot of shops have hoppers now, and you can take your own containers, plastic free, or they quite often have paper bags or compostable bags, and you can fill up as much as you want or need without the use of plastic. So it avoids food waste, and it's also helping with our plastic consumption. So definitely recommend that, and it's getting easier and easier to be able to do that. Some places are even offering milk bottle top up. So if you have milk, you can use a dispenser now. It's great, into glass bottles. You don't need to buy single-use plastic milk containers. So there's lots of things that can be done. What would you do, for instance, to replace cling film, which is so commonly used?
Well, you can get beeswax wraps now that are really good. You just kind of clean them with a bit of warm water, and it works in the same way as cling film. But just making a simple switch to glass, which is recyclable, which is really easy to get. After you finish with your jam or your whatever, just wash it out, and you can put anything in there. Mason jars are really good as well. Steelware. What sort of things do you have in your kitchen?
Well, I have a few examples. So I use things like this. So the good old Kilner jar that's resurfaced. They're great for rice or lentils, pasta, anything like that.
Yeah.
And then smaller ones.
Nice.
I put kind of vinaigrettes in these, or herbs, spices, really good for that. And then just sort of everyday reusable coffee cup, bamboo. It's so easy. Just wash it at home and take it with you. And places are so much more open to refilling, and I think everyone's trying to do their part.
And some people will even charge you less for your coffee if you bring your own cup. So it's an incentive. I have very similarly got a lunchbox or container, glass at the bottom. Yes, the lid's plastic, but yeah, this is ideal for storing things in the fridge, even taking your lunch into the office. A lovely water bottle. Yes, it's ridiculously pink. I love it. Yeah, so there are ways of limiting your plastic, doing a bit for the environment, and making sure that you're eating clean and living clean in the best way. Yeah,
and like even plastic straws, they are really on the way out now. But just say no, I don't need them, and you can get metal ones that you can take with you now if you really want a straw.
Yeah.
But even things like, if you go to the butcher's, take your own dish, so that you don't get that sort of film that they put around things. There's lots of options now, and even tins. You can now get canned goods that don't have BPA in them. So we're making progress. Something else that I mentioned is fleeces. A lot of people like a nice fluffy fleece, but actually they shed microfibers, so they're tiny particles of plastic every time you wash them, and you can't see them. They're smaller than a strand of hair, and that gets into treatment plants, and then to rivers, oceans, into the fish, and like you were talking about earlier, and then eventually we ingest them again. So it's a lot of things to think about, but it can tie into sort of other areas of your life. So for instance, if you live on your own, or you have a small family or whatever, buy single carrots, single onions, whatever it is. If you feel like you're wasting so much food because you buy a bag of carrots, well, actually, you buy them singly, not only are you not wasting food, you're not also having that single use plastic.
I think people forget that they have the option to be a bit more conscious when they're going out shopping, when they're going about their regular day. But hopefully this has highlighted a few things to think about when you're shopping, when you're eating, when you're buying things. You know, look out for those plastic on the back of labels or on packaging. You know, it might say BPA free, but look out for the other plastics if they're there. And, you know, the safest thing is to switch to something like steel, like glass, and think about where you're storing your food. So I loved your jar. I think, you know, you can buy your rice, buy your pasta in its plastic, and then when you're storing it at home, just put it into your glass jar. You know, simple things like that are going to make a difference.
Yeah, and you can take those with you and get them refilled.
Yeah.
So, you know, win-win.
So we're really glad to be back on chatting about all things health and well-being, so look out for more from us. If you are interested in any particular topics, want us to discuss anything, please let us know. Jen and I both have our own Instagram accounts, so you can message either of us or add you know, a comment where you're seeing this.
And also let us know in the comments of any kind of plastic-free, you know, initiatives you have going at home, whether you've got the family involved. Yeah, we'd love to hear.
Thanks, everyone.